Tune into Nice Radio every Saturday at 7:30 a.m. for A View from the Outside, hosted by Brereton Horne. A View from the Outside takes a look at key issues affecting St Vincent and the Grenadines and gives a global perspective on how these issues are viewed. Host Brereton Horne will examine a variety of topics to enlighten, stimulate debate, and explore solutions. Hear the facts, hear the real-life stories, hear A View from the Outside. Join Brereton Horne at 7:30 a.m. every Saturday on Nice Radio for A View from the Outside.
This society needs a spectacle. It might help us to see some evil. This society needs a spectacle.
On A View from the Outside this week being the 26th of August 2023, we take a look at some of the women of strength in St Vincent and the Grenadines. And we applaud them for the courage and strength which they have exhibited and continue to exhibit in the face of oppression, repression, and victimization in the country. Anyone paying attention will notice that women are increasingly becoming the ones at the forefront of the struggle for the oppressed and dispossessed in St Vincent and the Grenadines. Over time, and particularly over the last 15 to 20 years or so, it is quite noticeable by us, here on A View from the Outside, that Vincentian women, in the main, are the ones who have been willing to stand up in the face of the adversaries in the country. We here on A View from the Outside are not saying that Vincentian men have not been standing up also. But what we are saying is that more often than not, it is the women of strength who come forward. It is the women of strength who raise their heads above the parapet and take on the brunt of what is thrown at them and the nation, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. When it appears that men, including some men of influence, have allowed themselves to be emasculated, it is the women of strength who stand firm and who are there. When it appears that men surrender their ability to offer protection, it is the women of strength who are there. When it appears that men lack courage to challenge the adversaries, it is the women of strength who are there. When some men appear to slink away and remain silent, it is the women of strength who continue to demand accountability from the regime. These women of strength have shown time and again that they are not afraid. In fact, they have shown that despite any fear which they may have inside, they suppress that fear and they choose to stand up for the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They have shown strength and courage in what seems like frightening and challenging situations. They stand their ground and do not allow themselves to be bullied. They do not allow themselves to be bamboozled and hoodwinked. They call wrong, wrong. They call out corruption. They have seen through the regime's thrust to create a facade to the outside world that they care about women by their plethora of appointments. They are aware, the women of strength are aware, that beneath the surface, the members of the regime, despite the facade, continue to mistreat and abuse women. The women of strength are aware that staying silent could make their lives easier under the regime, but they choose to stand up for the nation. Some of these women of strength have been imprisoned, yet they remain undaunted and they continue the struggle for the oppressed. At this juncture, we mention the following women of strength. As we do so, we want you to understand that our list is not an exhaustive one. We would be the first to admit that we can never name all of the women of strength in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We see Lizette King as a woman of strength. She stated that right from the outset, when she realized that the regime was a con, as she put it, she immediately began to challenge them. She challenged the legitimacy of the 2015 general elections in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. She was instrumental in setting up the front line, which demonstrated on the streets of Kingstown for months on end, from just after the elections in December 2015 right up until 2017. She was arrested and brutalized on multiple occasions. She was even deported from her own country. Yet, she speaks up and speaks out on the atrocities taking place in the country. Lizette King, we salute you as a woman of strength. Anisha Baptiste, we see you as a woman of strength. You remain undaunted in the face of adversity. You have been unwavering in challenging and condemning the regime's vaccination mandate. That draconian mandate which they used to sack hundreds of workers. Your work has always been well researched and well presented. Anisha Baptiste, we salute you as a woman of strength. Margaret London, we see you as a woman of strength. You remain resolute, unflinching, and unafraid despite the difficulties and challenges. You call out the regime on their corruption and their disrespect for the Vincentian people. Your research and presentation skills are nothing but excellent. Your voice in demanding accountability from the regime is unwavering. You are perennial and you remain a thorn in the side of the oppressors. Margaret London, we salute you as a woman of strength. Debbie Foyle, we see you as a woman of strength. You have stood up and continue to stand up, sometimes single-handedly, and you continue to protest and advocate for the right of your fellow citizens of Canouan, and by extension, your fellow citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, to have unfettered access to the beaches of your homeland. You declared yourself a ULP supporter or a supporter of the ULP. However, you have not allowed that to prevent you from seeking to defend and protect a right which the laws of the country allow you and every Vincentian to have. You have not allowed partisanship to silence you. Your action has the ripple effect of spurring others in the other Grenadine islands and on the mainland St. Vincent to work tirelessly to protect the right to access to the beaches of the country. Debbie Foyle, we salute you as a woman of strength. Adriana King, we see you as a woman of strength. You have been pursued and vilified. You have been victimized. You have had your home raided, and you have been arrested on multiple occasions, and on occasion in the presence of your daughter, your young daughter. Despite all of that, you remain dogged, you remain resolute, you remain undaunted, and you continue your advocacy for those who are afraid to stand up for themselves. Adriana King, we salute you as a woman of strength. Anne-Marie Ballantyne, we see you as a woman of strength. You are one of the hundreds of teachers who were sacked by the regime for refusing to allow them to breach your constitutional right to defile your body with a vaccine. Despite your circumstances, and despite being kept in unemployment by the regime, you have not been afraid to continue to speak out for the protection of that right. Anne-Marie Ballantyne, we salute you as a woman of strength. Zita Barnwell, we see you as a woman of strength. Your advocacy on behalf of the oppressed and dispossessed, especially women, is telling. You continue your legal work for and on behalf of the oppressed. Zita Barnwell, we salute you. Kay Bacchus Baptiste, we salute you as a woman of strength. You have represented and continue to represent those who are continually targeted for challenging the regime's atrocities in the country. Through your legal representation, you continue to be a source of strength for many in the country. Kay Bacchus Baptiste, we salute you as a woman of strength. To all the mothers who battle unemployment or underemployment due to victimization, to provide for their families and get them, your children, get them ready for school, we see you all as women of strength. To all those women in villages and towns up and down the country who refuse to surrender your dignity and who also stand up to the might of the regime, we see you all as women of strength. As we said earlier, we cannot name all the women of strength in the country. In fact, we do not know all of them. In any event, however, time is against us today. And it is here that we urge you, the listener, to recognize the women of strength in your village, recognize the women of strength in your community, and recognize the women of strength in your town. Let them know that you admire them for their strength. In fact, you can also tell us who they are, and we will do our best from time to time to recognize them publicly. As we leave you, we say, as others, here's to strong women. May we know them. May we be them. May we raise them. Until next week, this is Brereton Horne with a view from the outside, with a reminder to send your feedback, as usual, to aviewfromtheoutside@hotmail.com. You can also get us on Facebook at A View from the Outside and on YouTube at A View from the Outside. Have a pleasant Saturday, have a wonderful Sunday, and have a productive week ahead as we continue to identify and recognize the women of strength in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.